I'm so excited to be here to continue our series, our little quick casual series on how I am branding myself using my astrology. And the intentions of the series is to help you if you are, being an entrepreneur, just putting yourself out on social media, how to do it if you're completely blind and want to kind of just put yourself out there in a way that complements your energy. I think what's beneficial about this is that, as a music artist, which is what I'm mainly using my branding, work for. I've always done music, but this is the first time that I'm really marketing myself in a way that is intentional. And so, because I'm doing it from scratch, I think it's a great way for you guys to see if it works. You could tell me what you think, what I'm doing, does it make sense to you? I do have two branding courses that I've created. They definitely need more work, and I'm working on improving them. The first one is branding for music artists. The other one is branding for a spiritual business. If you guys would like to check those courses out, you can look in the description box below. They're mad cheap because they're on Udemy. But again, I made those courses about 2 years ago, and I'm currently like in this current moment updating them. So if you sign up now, you will be able to watch the old content. But then, when the new free content comes in, it'll be completely free for you. So definitely check that out. But also, if you want to see me put my astrology in action, find me on the social media pages. Instagram right now is Karina's Healing, and on Facebook, I'm working on Karina's Closet for my Facebook page, and um, you guys will just be able to see if it works. Okay, so in the first part, the last time that I was here, the first two times that I talked about branding, I talked about how Taurus is a key element in understanding how astrology relates to branding, right? Taurus is the symbol, the zodiac sign. And so, where in your chart you find Taurus is where you can naturally brand yourself. If you'd like to learn more about that, check out my video on branding using your Taurus zodiac placement. Now, I also just recently did a quick 20-minute video, part one of this series. And in summary, I talked about looking at your Vedic chart and looking at the nakshatras. Okay. This can be a little complicated for some who have not, ventured into Vedic. But if you go back and watch that video, starting around 5 minutes in, I start to talk about how to look up your nakshatras, how to find the nakshatra that is hovering over your 10th house or your midhaven, and how I use that for myself, where I started approaching marketing myself in a different way. Okay. So one of the things that I said was that I learned that Ardra Nakshatra is in my 10th house of career. I don't have any planets there. So it's been hard for me to really pull, what do I want my reputation to be? And I have changed my name, changed things because I focus so much on those things. But what I really learned in learning about the nakshatra and my Vedic chart that hovers over the 10th house is this idea of being in the eye of the storm, this idea of being someone that cries, that shows emotions. And it's not something that I've been, really trying to put out online, which is, how I show off my emotions. It's not something that I've really wanted to do. I wanted to kind of show off this more independent, you know, cool person with a cool swag, you know what I'm saying? But um in the work of embodying the nakshatra that hovers over my midhaven, which is Ardra, I actually uncovered that doing the work and showing more vulnerability, showing tears, actually is doing work on me, right? It's allowed me to go through the process of, well, what it's like to put myself out into the world and to be more vulnerable. And it spiritually has enhanced me as well as, working on the marketing and branding. So it's almost like it's two things working as one. And I found it to be very powerful So definitely check out the last video if you'd like to learn more about your Vedic nakshatras and how to find the one that is hanging over your 10th house. Okay. All right. So, um, when it comes to branding and what we understand about branding, we look at Taurus because it helps us to see that it is a part of us that is consistent, a part of us that is kind of fixed and doesn't really move or change without much intention, thought, and consideration. Because a brand is something that people always know you by, right? It's like you become their possession. That's something that I talked about in the first video, and this is really important to understand and why it's so hard to change a brand. And when people do change brands, but they do it with a lot of thought, consideration, and like introduction and informing people, often you have to really consider how you're changing your brand and really take it, take it with weight and serious and responsibility, because a brand is often something that people want to see consistent. If they see you changing too much, it kind of throws your people off and they may not stick around. Okay. And that's the Taurus energy as well. So understanding that energy is important when you're looking at your brand, because you want to pick something that you can maintain. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of people who have tried to do something that they could change around. But one of the ways that I recommend is to look at your life and look at your lifestyle as a part of your brand, because that is easy to maintain. It's easy to be consistent if you're just authentic about your lifestyle. This is why in the last video, I talked about the sixth house and how the sixth house can show you, because the sixth house is related to lifestyle, right? Your day to day actions, your day to day schedule. It can kind of show you a part of how you want to be authentic as well. So, Taurus in your chart shows you your brand, your consistency, but also your sixth house will show you that, because it will show you what you need to portray into the world to be authentic. For instance, I have Pisces in my sixth house, and Pisces rules over things like healing and counseling and astrology. So you guys can see that I've done astrology because I love astrology, but it's also my lifestyle. And I've also wanted to integrate astrology into my music career because it's what I naturally do. It would almost be really difficult for me to have a separate music career and a separate astrology lifestyle, because without including astrology in my music, it's almost just not real. It's almost just a little inauthentic to me. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to do it the same way and everything that you do in life has to be a part of your brand, but I'm just showing you how it's easier to be consistent with your brand when you're just honest about who you are and what you do. Okay. So, yeah, I want to be like a well accepted music artist. And I've battled with integrating my astrology knowledge in my music because I feel like I would be pushing people out who either don't believe in astrology or have fear about it. But to not include astrology in my music culture is almost a disservice to myself, because it's just what I naturally do. So look at your sixth house for these things. I talked about this briefly in the last video, that that Pisces rules over beverages. Okay, so I actually want to incorporate more ideas of water, um, beverages, from alcohol to healthy beverages and whatnot, in what I do with my music artistry. Right. You guys will see that I'm always sipping on something. Right now, I'm sipping on a thing of coffee or tea or water whenever I do astrology, because Pisces rules over beverage, and my sixth house is Pisces ruled. So, yeah, it becomes very strong there, and I'm always drinking something, and that can be a part of the brand. So, if I started to consider, like, all right, well, maybe I should have a really cool cup or canister that has, the name Karina on it, or has some dope astrology emblems on it, that could actually help incorporate more of the brand. Okay. Because a brand is a mix of how people possess you, like who you are to them. Like, that's my astrologer, that's my singer, that's my, what I'm saying, that's my tarot reader. But it's also like the signs, the symbols, the logos, and the colors. So branding is like a, a conglomerate, I hope that's the right word, of all these things, like the idea of you and what where you belong in people's lives, and then the certain like colors and signs and symbols, so they can always say, oh, there she is, there he is. So having like something that, I drink out of, because Pisces is in my sixth house and that's my lifestyle. Showing your lifestyle and your brand is really important, okay? Because lifestyle is what matches people to you, right? So it's connected to culture, it's connected to, shared ideals, right? So having like, a lifestyle that you show to people, and I mean showing as in being online, vlogging or stories on Instagram or whatever, having a lifestyle that you show is really important to your brand, because people will be like, oh, like we're similar, or oh, I could pick that up, like I could do more of that because I already do this. So people can relate to you better when you show your lifestyle, and it's also a very important part of branding. All right. So I've said enough about the drinks, but Pisces is also dancing. It's also anything to do with the feet, So if I had Pisces in the sixth house, I might want to do a vlog where I'm like going and getting my feet done and talking about things like that. I know that sounds crazy, but the energies are actually complementary to me. And the brand is you. So that's why I can pull from that and be like, oh, well, maybe I'll try that. I'll do a zodiac, foot design. You know what I'm saying? Um, Also dancing. So I'm actually doing some dancing work, and I don't consider myself to be a professional dancer, but if you can get up and move your feet, you're a dancer. But I've always loved doing it when I was a kid, and Pisces in my sixth house supports the fact that showing me dancing is going to be a good thing for me. It's going to be natural to what I want to do. It's going to be natural to my tendencies, because dancing is something that I like to do daily, just to get my body moving, to get connected to my body. So why not? Okay. So, yeah, look to your sixth house to help you with lifestyle, right? You can go around and just start documenting your lifestyle so people see your lifestyle, but you can also have ideas from your sixth house. And now you have like content ideas, you have like behind the scenes Instagram story ideas, like things that you just do, pull from your sixth house to help you do more of that. Okay. I just realized that I didn't let Facebook know that I'm on. So if y'all will give me a second, I'm just going to take a quick little break. I'll play a little music for you. And let me just let my Facebook crew know that we are live, because that's where I usually do my along. Facebook and YouTube are like the astrology. Give me a second. Let me just share this link. Don't hate the player, change the game. Don't hate the player, change the game. This place is really nice, isn't it? Babe, I'm talking to you. What are you looking at? You always looking at something. What do you mean I'm acting insecure? Unsure of when the I wonders. So I'm just supposed to knew you had act like everything's okay. Hunger, cause I got you. For the dinner steaming on your plate. But I ain't got your attention. Oh, this is just like any modern day. Here's what I think. You're not in love with her. You're just looking at her. Okay, you guys, so we're back. Could be. Okay, so that is my song Play. And I'm actually going to talk about what I'm doing with Play, because it's the next visual that I'm working on, and how I use my astrology to actually push that out. So let's first talk about the content of that song Play. It's actually me talking about being insecure and feeling insecure when like a guy that I'm dating or on a date with is like looking at other women. Okay. So it's an experience that I've had before, and I wanted to put it in my music. Now, I told you that Ardra Nakshatra is over my 10th house. And what I discovered spiritually in trying to pull more from this nakshatra to help me like put myself out into the world more is that I needed to be more vulnerable. Well, here's the thing, like R&B music, which is kind of where I belong, but not really. Still trying to discover that. A lot of R&B music, the women are showing more empowerment, more, anger, ferocity, dependence, and it's something that I'm very prideful of in showing being more, independent, being mad cool, being mad chill, and being sexy in that way. But with the Ardra Nakshatra, there's often this feeling of feeling victimized and pulling out where is it that I am like being victimized, right? And like I said, Ardra Nakshatra, I've learned, is the storms, and it's a lot about the storm inside of you, and the the releasing of the tears, like the storm inside of you, and the releasing of the tears. It's like rain falling down, and so this is really important for me to understand. This is why you got to study your 10th house nakshatra, and all you got to do is just look up a video and listen to a few videos. That's what I do, to learn about the nakshatra, just to pull some ideas. Well, my point in this is that it spiritually awakened me in so many ways, including into my personal relationship and how I want to portray myself as a brand, because I had to choose vulnerability if I wanted to see if astrology thing works. And so I started writing songs from a more like, look, I'm an insecure girl place. Look, I have another song where I wrote like, look, I'm sorry. I'm the one who messed up in this relationship. Here are the reasons why I messed up. And actually, you just don't see that content very much in the music industry. So yeah, I have my independent songs. I have my ferocious, fierce songs, but I started to play more with showing the sides of me that have to be more humble, that have to be more, a little bit more softer, but just actually more revealing is really the word that I'm looking for. More revealing about what's really going on with me. And it actually helped my relationship to start writing from this place because I started seeing my relationship in a different way. And it took me on this incredible journey. So, embodying the astrology not only helps your business, but it still does that spiritual work. It's so cool. It's like mad cool. So with play, I started to write from a more insecure place, but more from this place of like, look, like we all have it. And this discernment of understanding, like when a man is into you because he lusts after you versus when he's into you versus, because he really is interested in you, maybe lust, but also curious, maybe really there's something about you that you really want him to like, you more than like just your body. That's what that song is about. That's basically what it's about. But I, instead of being like, you should love me because I'm the fucking greatest, I have a little moment in there when I do that. But the biggest thing is saying like, look, I'm the one who's really like got baggage here, and I'm trying to deal with myself. Okay, so moving on, let's go back to content. Let's talk about like when you are creating content for your brand. Okay, and one of the planets that can help you to create content for your brand is Mars. I talked about this briefly in the first video, but it's important to understand that your Mars helps you with business and branding, because with your Mars you can show what you're doing as well on a daily basis, and you can create content from a place that um, helps your Mars. Why is this important? People have these great grandiose ideas, and if you have the money and the resources to pull them off, then that's great. But me, I don't necessarily have that. My biggest resource is myself, my two hands, my family, my husband, and my astrology. And so, yeah, if I want to be like a music artist and be, competitive with myself, but also just competitive in the industry, how could I use astrology? Well, Mars is where you are competitive. Okay. Mars is where you compete. So going to your Mars is going to help you learn how to improve yourself, right? Be competitive with yourself, but also it's your natural tendency on what you are competitive about and why. So it will help you, right? If I try to compete on a level that I'm not necessarily as competitive about, like, people like to like be the best cook, right? I am not competitive about being the best cook. I don't care. I'll tell anybody anytime I am not a good cook. That's because my Mars isn't in any place where I'm naturally competitive about cooking, like in Cancer or the fourth house. You know what I'm saying? So I have to look at where I'm the most competitive at. That's where my Mars is. So where I'm the most competitive at is just my voice, my vocal tone, because it's in Taurus, right? So looking at your Mars will tell you that stuff. The other thing that Mars will help you do is to focus on where you naturally are active, okay? Because Mars is also just your general activity that you do when you wake up and you want to move. That's usually your Mars activating, right? Now, my Mars is in Taurus, so the first thing I want to do is wake up and figure out what I'm going to eat. So, yeah, maybe I may not show me cooking anything, but I might show, and I will be showing like the different foods that I like to eat and partake in, because this is a part of my lifestyle. It's a part of what I naturally do every day, and it will help my brands. It will help people who eat like me or who want to eat like me or who like the same things that I like feel more related to me. And that's the overall goal of the brand, is that you are, relating and becoming something that they can own, that they can always trust and rely on. So doing and activating your Mars is just helping you to tap into your natural competitive nature, and helping you to see what is it that you actively do every day that people want to, relate to and can. It keeps you, all of this astrology work keeps you very authentic. So you're doing what you need to do based off of your own energies, and that's really powerful. So speaking on branding, I speak from branding from a place of creating content online, because your branding is going to be what you consistently put out, and the internet is basically the place to brand yourself right now in 2021, right? It's been before 2021, but just giving this a time mark. Now, the other thing is looking at your Mars placement in the zodiac sign, but also the house system. So, my Mars is in the eighth house in Taurus, which has a lot to do with how I eat, but transforming how I eat, because the eighth house is life and death, transformation, metamorphosis. So, my Mars being in the eighth house, metamorphosis energy, right, showcases to me that one of the best things I could do is show myself going from one point to another. So this is now what I've been working on with my music work. And the other YouTube channel that I have is just called Karina. And I'm like, well, how can I start to kick this off? Because I'm dropping music on there, but people aren't really listening. How can I really push this more? So looking at my Mars, I'm just like, well, I really want to work on my fitness. I really want to work on like becoming something cool for like my next music visual, right? So if, let's say I want to, fit into an outfit and use it in a music video. Well, this is my Mars activating in the eighth house, because there's a process in the eighth house, like mine is. Mars has to transform. It has a caterpillar butterfly effect in the eighth house, right? So this is when I was like, all right, well, I can come up with content that brands me as an artist and show people me losing weight or going on a weight loss system to fit into this dress, to get into, to use for, to look great for a video. And so that's one of the things that I'm working on right now, is a fitness journey of me doing one of the trending challenges online, and I'm basically using my Mars to, to activate, to I used my Mars to come up with this idea, basically. Okay. And so from this point where I'm like, I want to do a music video, but I've got to get ready. I'm documenting myself getting ready for about 2 to 4 weeks. And then that will be something that I'll put on that Karina channel. And so while it seems like it's not music related, it's me related. And people who are big on transformation, people who are inspired about watching a journey, people who are inspired about seeing a story, I think are really going to like it. It's an experiment, so we're going to see, because I'm going to put the video out in a couple of weeks. I'm actually just starting it, but that was the idea that I came up with. And this is because, and my Mars placement supports that idea. And it's something that I naturally can and will do, because my Mars is in the eighth house. So, looking at where your Mars is, the zodiac sign in the eighth house, can help you come up with some ideas on how, what content to do that will brand you, because everybody's different. Somebody who has Mars in the first house, they might naturally just be able, Mars in the first or second or third, might naturally be able to just drop music and people will come. I'm saying, especially if Mars is well aspected or whatever, right? But my Mars needs a process being in the eighth house. So that's the thing that you really have to be distinct about. um if anyone has any questions about that, feel free to comment and I'll respond back and help you if you're trying to understand like how to use your Mars to come up with ideas, that content ideas online to help brand yourself. Mars is the way to do it. All right. And if you guys want to see me do that, um, on my different platforms, TikTok, Instagram, and my Karina YouTube are the three places where I'm really trying to work this energy out. On my Instagram, I'm also doing another documentary from one point to another thing. And it's called Four Choreographers. All right. This is mixing my Mars and the sixth house, Pisces dancing, and Mars in the eighth house. So it's four choreographers, one song. So that songs I just played, play. It's called Play. Um, what I'm doing is hiring four dancers on Fiverr and having them come up with a dance for me. And then I'm going to learn it, right? And then showcase, maybe the best dance or something at the end. So basically, it's a whole process. And it's cool because of picking a dance, learning the dances, figuring out which one, putting on the costumes, doing it in the video. It becomes a whole process, a caterpillar to butterfly effect, because my Mars is in the eighth house, and that's naturally my tendency. So I'm just working my own strengths, working my own energies. Also, because Pisces in the sixth house, like I said, Pisces ruling the feet, the sixth house being your day-to-day lifestyle. So this is helping me to get up on my feet, to dance a little bit more, to burn more calories. Like, this is helping me across the board. So using your astrology, not only is astrology the secret to getting you out there and pushing yourself out there, it also just comes back to you with tenfold grace, with double the grace, because the astrology is there to help you spiritually advance. And so doing this work, it's like it's still feeding you. It's still natural to your nature. It's natural to your nature to follow your astrology and to do your business with the astrology. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this little rant. I know that I went from idea to idea for part two. What I'm going to do is timestamp all my videos so that you can come back and press if you wanted to be reminded about something. And yeah, I will come back with a part three when I unlock more things about my chart and I have more to share. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for the love, and I'll see you in the next video. What up, beautiful people? It's your girl Karina. On today's live, we are going to talk about branding yourself. How to brand yourself using astrology. Well, specifically, how I brand myself. Okay, you guys know that I am working really hard right now and putting myself out as an artist, creating a culture of spirituality and astrology, and I'm starting from complete scratch. If you see me on my socials, you'll see that I'm doing my artist work and combining my spirituality work. And I've always dreamt about being a music artist and had doubt and didn't believe in myself, and discovered the possibility of what I can do with just my own two hands and my own way of being, and using the astrology to help me affirm my path. Oh, this is not a popular topic, but it's something that I have always wanted to share. It's something that brings me joy to share. And if anybody benefits off of this, then I feel like it's so much useful. So we are gonna get into it. I'm just gonna share this link out to my other social so anybody else wants to join us can. In the meantime, why don't y'all vibe out to my song? This is my song Venus RX. I'm gonna be redropping and releasing this album. It's a soft, album, low key, but also very introspective, on my birthday, April 22nd. So here's the first track, Venus RX, while I'm sharing the links out. All right. And after the music, we're going to get right into how you can brand yourself in your business using your astrology, and just basically giving you the examples of how I'm doing it. You could take from me, you can share with me what works, what doesn't. Let's make this a whole tribe vibe of using our spirituality, our knowledge, and putting it into action. This is astrology in action, y'all. Okay. All right. Here's after the bump, we're going to get into it.
She was born on a day with the feelings retrograde. No one cared what she said. No one loved her anyway. Flip the cards, cut the deck, tell me I'm fortunate. Flip the cards, cut the deck, tell me I'm fortunate. Flip the cards, cut the deck, tell me I'm fortunate. Flip the cards, cut the deck, tell me I'm fortunate. Who I wanna be.
All right, you guys, we are here. All right, y'all. That was Venus RX. I'm dropping the album on my birthday. I released it last year, but I took it down because I wanted to. I have kind of kept it separate, and integration is the key right now. Integration is the key. But how do I share my music life, my aspirations as an artist, my creative output and outlet, my astrology community? This must be it. Branding yourself and learning how to brand yourself. And so I wanted to share with you guys briefly today. This will be maybe a little mini series if you guys really like this, on how I use my natural astrology transits and astrology energy to brand myself. Okay. So it all starts with the live that I did a couple of weeks ago. The live that I did a couple of weeks ago, I talked about how Taurus in your chart helps you to be the brand. And it goes very deeply on why Taurus is the zodiac sign of branding. The fixed sign axis, also the fixed sign cross, so Taurus, Aquarius, Scorpio, Leo, all also have these importance to how you brand yourself, how you put yourself out in the world. All the signs do, but Taurus is very specific in what is that brand, what is it that people remember you by. Unfortunately, this is about to be cut short because my daughter just made it back home. But what I want to talk to you guys real briefly, and just remind you, is owning yourself and owning what you are and not trying to be any differently. Okay. So the first thing is, you guys see I have a bunch of drinks here. Okay. And a lot of people try to like clean up their environment or make their environment like look pretty, right? Well, here's the thing. I have Pisces in my sixth house. So part of my energy and how I use my astrology is to own the fact that I'm going to be a little crazy, a little messy. I also have a Gemini moon. I'm going to be messy. So whenever it's like, oh, I need to clean up before I do a live, or clean up before I do anything, or have anything perfect, it actually holds me back from getting right to the work, right? And you see, like, my schedule is busy. I don't always have as much time. My daughter's already here. So I have to just go and do with it, which means that part of my brand is being a little messy, because it's just owning who you are and what you are right now. I'm gonna leave you guys with this gem because I do have to go, and I'm sorry that this is cut so short. Is also using the nakshatras from Vedic astrology. And if you look at your moon energy, you can understand your moon nakshatra and understand some of that energy as well, and helping you to own and affirm yourself. But here's the kicker. I actually, the nakshatras are used very differently than how I use them. I still see yourself as all of the signs. So I see myself as all of the nakshatras. And the Cancer, that's my husband, you guys. So the midhaven, the midhaven nakshatra is what I use, what I've been using lately. And it's really helped me to open myself up to the world. Okay. Here's why. All right. So the midhaven, the 10th house in your chart, is your your career, your brand, your reputation, right? And I don't have any planets there, right? And it's Cancer in Western astrology. But when I Vedic and look at the nakshatra that is hovering my midhaven, actually gives me insight on, oh, well, what is it that I could do to like kind of bring this reputation out of me, kind of own it, because I don't have as much like energy there pushing me. Like one of my favorite celebrities, Beyonce, has the Mars and North Node in her 10th house. So her energy is focused on her 10th house. But what if you don't have anything there? Take a look at your nakshatra. Go ahead and type in your birth information in a Vedic chart, and then start to look up your nakshatra that rules over the 10th house. You might actually have to do some work, right? Because the Vedic chart is just going to give you the planets. So what you'll probably have to do is go to Wikipedia and look up the list of nakshatras, okay? Do that. First look up your Vedic chart, then go to Wikipedia, look up the list of nakshatras, right? And then you want to find the degree. You want to find the degree of your midhaven, right? So I look up the list of nakshatras and I look for the degree of my midhaven from the Western chart, and the list of nakshatras on Wikipedia trans translates it and turns it over to the sidereal chart for you, so you don't have to like compute it in your head. All you have to do is know the midhaven degree, and then go to the list of nakshatras on Wikipedia and look up the degree of your Western chart midhaven. Okay, for me, it is Ardra Nakshatra. And this opened me up so much because I don't have any energy here, right? And I could have maybe picked it up because it's Cancer energy, but learning the Ardra Nakshatra, which is the storm and the tears, made me to see that my path and my reputation became even more spiritually enhanced, because it was about being vulnerable in the light of the eye of people, being someone who cries in public, being someone who shows her pain in public. And it was something that I was resisting, but when I saw the possibility of what it could do for my career, I started to own it. And what it actually has done for me spiritually is actually awaken and transform my spiritual journey and enhance it even more. So that's a little thing to run away with. And I promise you guys I'll be back and talk more about it. But do that. Look up the nakshatra that hovers over your midhaven. Okay? Peace and love. Boops. What's up, everyone? It's your girl, Karina. Welcome to I Have Karina TV, and we are continuing our talk today on how I am branding myself using astrology when it comes to branding my music career. So, I'm excited to talk to you guys today about Venus. And I have on my channel the Venus Blueprint. I definitely think you should check it out if you like what we talk about today, because the Venus Blueprint allows you to learn what your Venus beauty and fashion is and apply what I'm talking about today to yourself if you're into that kind of stuff. Okay, so I hope that you guys enjoy this. What we're gonna do is take a little music break so that I can share the link over to Facebook, let everyone else know that we are live right now. If you are watching and you need to leave or whatever, I'm gonna have timestamps on this, so you can come back and rewatch it and just skip forward to the parts that most interest you. Okay? All right. So for this moment, give me a second and let's let Facebook know we are here.
Karina, gang gang. I got that hocus pocus in my jeans. Left pocket of my ancestors guarding me. You can't stop this. Oops, there I go. Abracadabra in your face. Oof, oh, make your word magic. Make your word magical. Make your word magic, magic. Oof, oh, abracadabra in your face. Oof, oh, make the words magic.
All right, you guys. So we are ready to go. We're going to talk about Venus today and your Venus blueprint. Your Venus blueprint is actually the keys to the matrix and how you can infiltrate the matrix in a way that allows you to be more sociably accepted, charming, attractive on a very and if you like to play that game, then you are going to need to know your Venus blueprint, okay? Now, some people just naturally attune to their Venus blueprint because they have great aspects in their chart, making them naturally, like, well able to put together their fashion and beauty. And some people struggle with that, okay? Welcome to Eye of Karina TV because I definitely struggle with that. Having a Venus retrograde trine Saturn in Aries, right? There's a lot that happens where it takes time to uncover my own blueprint. But what this allows for me to do is to share with you guys what I'm learning along the way, and then you can learn from scratch with me. So there is no like perfection here, it's all experiments. Okay, so an understanding your Venus blueprint in your branding helps you to portray a side of you not just that is aesthetically pleasing, but because it's your natural birth chart energy, it's going to be natural for you. And if you're not accustomed to your blueprint, um, you should actually feel like the body, the energy from the colors that you wear to the materials that you're doing to how you're portraying and showing the shape of your body, the shape of your entire being, right? This is just as energetically important as anything else, right? The people you come in contact with, all of that. So colors matter, just everything matters. And we understand this through, the Venus sensations, the need to have all of our senses being stimulated. Venus energy is all about pleasure. It's all about finding that pleasing energy and sometimes can be confused with happiness. So I really need to let you guys know to check out my video on Venus is not as feminine as you think, to really be able to grasp what I'm trying to do here, which is give you tools, right? But you have the choice to use them or not. But in your branding, you may want to use them as they can be a key player in your game. Help you to naturally uplift yourself in maybe even a faster way. I mean, I have Venus in Aries, so I naturally want things to be a little bit faster. Um, Now, there are a few things that you may be working on. For me, I'm going to be using my music business, my music artistry as an example for you on how I'm branding myself, but I'm actually, experimenting on this across the board. But, as a music artist, I have had a history of dealing with different types of experiences in music theater and all of that, how to apply that to wanting to be maybe an R&B artist and be more interesting, has been the thing that I've been dealing with. Venus allows me to see that with it being in Aries, right? All of the zodiac signs have different color assignments. So choosing more hot reds, hot oranges are things that are helping me to just kind of penetrate my energy out into the world. At least that's what I believe it does. So yeah, so you want to when you watch your Venus video, which I have on the channel, you want to pay attention to the colors that I'm mentioning in those videos to consider what colors are the best for you. And you may play around with different shades of that family of colors because you definitely want to have something that complements you, okay? But this is important for Aries and for Scorpio, that how the colors complement your skin color um, are important, especially in the aspects of DNA and gene activation. So this goes deep. You know what I'm saying? Colors are important. Okay. So when you're able to understand the energies of your zodiac, you're understanding what in your body are you trying to awaken? What in your body do you need to showcase, right? To be aesthetically pleasing. Yes, it is Venus is love, but Venus is conditional love. Okay. So I hope that I'm not losing you guys here. Let me know if I am. Um, so colors are one of the first things that I focus on. And when you understand the blueprint, right, you'll also understand that what aspects are happening to your Venus are also important. There are also different planets that play important roles that you can include in your blueprint. For instance, you can dress like your Venus placement. For me, Venus is in Aries, but I could also dress more like my Taurus placement, right? And that would portray me trying to shine, be more egotistical, be more prideful. Okay. So your planetary energy can mix in with all the Venus energy. You can do any single choice that you want with the Venus blueprint, but depending on what planet you choose, depends on what you're going to open out for yourself. For instance, if I if I portray a more intellectual side of myself, a side that shows my intelligence and whatnot, this is pulling from my moon in Gemini energy. Okay. Now, when I say portray, I don't mean like just sitting and having a lecture like this, but let's say trying to look smart, right? That's Venus energy, trying to impress upon. So, trying to appear to be smart is actually what I would be doing to try to pull out my moon energy, right? When I do my music, I've been focusing mainly on Venus, Venus and Aries, and using the Venus blueprint as a foundation. Okay, so where your Venus is where you start. It is where you can begin. If you're lazy like me, you may just want to end there. If you want to take it to different levels, you can understand that complexity of the blueprint. And that's when you're really a magician, in the sense of being able to take your astrology and see all the aspects, see all the possibilities, and then start to make choices for yourself on what do I want to evoke, what do I want to portray. um so I'm just really hoping that it makes sense. Okay, so now when we look at, let's say, what you want to put on a album cover. For you, it may be a product label or merchandise, right? You also want to consider your rising energy. Your rising sign can showcase who you are trying to portray and impress upon for strangers and acquaintances, people that don't know you as well. Okay. Now, if you have your Venus in the rising, then it will all be the same structure. You would just follow your Venus. But let's say that your rising is a different sign. Now you're going to be able to make more comparisons as to how to dress like your rising versus dress like your Venus. Sometimes you may want to really integrate them. Sometimes you may want the two versions of yourself to be appearing to be two different versions of yourself. Okay. For example, if I have Libra rising and Venus is in my seventh house, which is going to be opposite, your rising is in your first house, Venus is in the seventh. There's two actually fighting images of myself that I'm working on portraying. So these are the things that I have choices of, right? Do I want to portray a more kinder side, Libra Venus, or do I want to portray a more dominant fiery energy side, fiery energy side, Venus Aries? So when you start to look at, okay, I want to make product, merchandise, I want to take photos of myself, right? If you really are a scientist at this and you really want to play around with this astrology game, then you might really start to play around with these ideas. It's almost like a tool. It is a tool that you can use if you're ever feeling lost in how to brand yourself on the fashion and beauty side. That's basically what Venus blueprint is for. Okay, so again, using your rising will help you to show how you want to portray yourself out into the world, especially for first impressions and for people who've never met you before, which usually most people are trying to acquire more, more people towards them. So Venus is a powerful tool in allowing you to see that you can do that. Okay, cool. Well, if you've got your notepad out, then I feel like it's making sense and it's resonating. So that's awesome. Um, okay, great. So let's say that you want to again portray a more kinder, softer, compassionate, gentler side to yourself. Okay. People do this all the time. Is just that we're just using astrology to do it. So, let's say that you want to appear to a different audience that needs more of a compassionate side to you, then you may want to pull from your moon energy. Okay, for me, an example is I have a Venus in Aries, Venus retrograde in Aries. So Aries is a combative energy, and this can be not so welcoming. Even though it's my foundation, it may not always be very useful for me to always be so combative, right? So when I'm wearing these bright reds and this fierce sexual energy, it's going to create more conflict for me, which is a part of the blueprint, but I just have to understand that, right? So if I want to say, okay, I want to just alter that, right? Alternate that, kind of pull something else, then I would use my moon energy. So let's say that you have a placement that is not appealing, sorry, the word appealing to more compassionate, vulnerable side of you. Your Venus placement may be in conflict with being that way, or you just want to tap into that energy, whatever your intentions are. In But your intentions are important. You want to look at your moon placement, and then you just want to put your moon in the Venus blueprint. So my moon is in Gemini. So I would go to the videos of all the Venuses and just look up Venus and Gemini and understand those rules. And then try to pull that out more so that I could appear to be more compassionate. So when I pull my moon in Gemini, this is exactly what I feel is happening. My Venus in Aries is fiery and combative, which can be offsetting. My moon in Gemini allows me to portray a more goofier, student, geekier side to it. So it shows a side of myself that shows that I'm not taking myself seriously when I get so fierce. I'm not really here to fight as much as I'm here to be comical and troll and have fun. So the moon energy allows to unveil an aspect to myself where people can relate, be kind, and more compassionate. Because abiding by my Venus is the important part, but allowing moon energy to come in will help to open up more opportunities, insight, and doors for me. So when you brand yourself, right, this whole series is about being true to yourself. And so when we look at your astrology, it's just allowing you to show you where you are true to yourself. Again, you can always choose differently, but it's just about understanding your energies and basically abiding and complementing them. Um, you have to be from a place of really I mean, I'm a pretty big overthinker already, but you have to be from a place of kind of seeing it separate from you as a illusion, right? So that you can really dissect yourself and really just admit, accept who you are, what you are, right? That's sometimes one of the hardest parts about branding, because branding is about who you truly are and not really anything else. It allows you to be consistent, allows you to be truthful, it allows you to be reliable and credible to people when you are who you are, right? And this gives um, you this position of being somebody's important go to when it comes to the idea of branding. And that's exactly what branding is. It's this image or vision or feeling in people's minds, remembering what you are, what you do for them, and why they, you know, put you in this box of this is where I go when I need this, So that's the idea of branding. And this comes from the Taurus energy, comes from the Venus energy. So your Venus blueprint is very powerful in understanding all of the aspects and choices that you have in your birth chart. So you can portray any planet and use your Venus. I haven't done this yet, but if I wanted to be more Plutonian, I could just say my Pluto's in Scorpio, my Pluto is in the second house, analyze your Pluto. Say, okay, I want to portray a more powerfully dynamic person who's secure in their monetary value, whatever. Right. And then place it in the blueprint and look at Venus and Scorpio, right? And knowing that when I dress like a Venus and Scorpio, it activates my natal Pluto. And now I can tap into that second house energy. Okay, so I hope that this has been useful to you guys in understanding the Venus blueprint. There are several videos that I've done on Venus, along with this branding one. I think I'll put them all in a playlist, and just so that they're all in one place. And then they all have timestamps, so you can just click through the ones that you need, and allow you to even like take down a notebook. That's like really great. And start to dissect your Venus. In fact, that's what I do. Being a moon in Gemini, I have several notebooks, and I will sit down and jot down ideas. One recent change that you guys have seen is my hair. Now, I use my sun energy to affirm, right? Just to say, like, yeah, this is the way to go. Definitely start changing up your hair. It wasn't as much for everybody else as much as it was me, right? Sun energy. The sun, my sun, does a trine with Neptune. And if you guys know the Venus in Pisces blueprint, which Neptune would be related to, right? You're going to find the entire thing is connected to the seas and the oceans. And, braided hair is not just the seas and the oceans, but the look of it, the idea of it, the aesthetic of it, right? You just can't go too deep. We're not going to go political. We're just going by a stereotype, an aesthetic stereotype, right? Is belonging to that Venus and Pisces aesthetic, especially when we look at the sea energy, right? The oceans is basically what I'm saying. The oceans, mermaids, the pirates, things like that. So choosing a more Neptunian hairstyle, right, helps me to feel more confident in myself. So using the sun's energy is where you can tap into your pride and your ego. You can tap more into your confidence in yourself, right? So you use your Venus, but you can also tap into all your other planets and discover how the energy signals influence you, help you to embody certain energies that you just may not have considered. So it's like your magician's toolbox. Okay, so thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope that you found something of value here. And if you have, let me know, comment, like, let me know if you want a part 4. If you do, what more would you want me to talk about, or what parts of your brand are you trying to evoke, and how we can use your astrology to do that. um, okay, and we can make it a team collaboration here, because like I said, I'm still experimenting myself. Cool. If you have a question, I'm still here drinking my coffee. Okay, so all right, so I will see you guys in the next live. Peace and love.